A lot of people want to learn a digital skill, but there is always something stopping them, which is no other thing than the fee. And this is how you can learn it for free. You see, this procedure I'm about to show you is the same procedure I applied when I was about learning Adobe Photoshop for photo manipulation and graphic design. And it is still the same procedure I applied when I decided to learn Adobe Premiere Pro for video editing. And if you follow the same procedure I'm about to show you, you can also become a pro of any skill. I'm actually not against you paying for a masterclass to learn any digital skill of your choice, as it can make you a pro in less than 4 months. But what choice do you have if you can't afford a fee? Maybe you do, but I didn't, and many others don't either. And even paying for a masterclass does not guarantee that you can become a pro if you fail to apply the fifth of these 7 roadmap that I'm about to show. You see, the best place to learn any digital skill for free is YouTube, following my 7 proven roadmap. You see, the first is often overlooked, which is the map to mastering any skill. You see, when you decide to learn a digital skill, you are expected to create a map that will decide or that will determine where you start and where you expected to end. Now, how do you create this map? The first you need to do is go on YouTube, use the search tab, look for the full course of the skill you decide to learn. So supposing I want to learn Adobe Premiere Pro, I will just type on the screen or on the key Adobe Premiere Pro full course. There are a lot and series of content that has been created around Adobe Premiere Pro as a full course. So what you're just expected to do is to pick and select these courses from the beginning to finish. Since YouTube is saturated with these courses, you have to go through a lot of channels to compare and contrast the similarities in this content that has been created. Pick as much as you can, check the similarities, then package everything, outline all these topics in your Google Doc or your Word document. Doing this alone has created a map of the journey of learning that skill that you've decided to learn. The second is very important after you've gotten your map, as it will determine how long learning that skill will go on. Decide the duration. You see, if you decide to learn a skill without deciding the duration, you will never finish learning. And of course, learning never ends. That is true. But how can you qualify to be a pro if you've not gotten to the peak that can qualify you to be one? So it is very important to decide the duration. Now, deciding the duration, since you are learning on your own as a self-taught, then everything will be figured out by yourself, apart from the tutorial that you'll be following. And to make it easier on your end, as no one is breaking or troubleshooting some of the problem you'll be encountering, you're expected to have at least or at most 6 months to learn that skill that you decide to learn to become a pro. Unlike those that have paid masterclass, learn at most for 4 months. Just a 2 month difference can also make you to match up to their level of understanding. So deciding the duration is very important. Now, within these 6 months, you are expected to decide how long or how many times in a week, in a month, or in a day you decide to learn, depending on your schedule. For if you're working, you can decide to make it 2 times in a week. If it is a career you decide to follow, then you can just make it every day. But very importantly, you need to make it easy in order for you to continue or keep the momentum. So which means at most 30 minutes minimum, maximum 1 hour should be enough to learn that thing that you decide. Even if you have the opportunity of learning a long duration, you shouldn't force it, because when your brain becomes saturated with that knowledge or with what you're learning, continuing will become difficult, and what you've learned earlier may be useless. After the first 2 steps has been taken, then the next step should follow. Learn or follow the tutorial. Now, definitely you've done a good job creating a map of your journey, and you've also decided the duration, how long it will take you to get to that destination. Then the next step is to kickstart the journey or start the journey by learning or following the tutorial. Now, in order for you to actually do this, you need to go to your map, your course outline, then learn about this topic from different perspectives. So what you're expected to do is download or watch 3 different creator explaining or giving tutorial on one particular topic. Now this will create a knowledge of how it can be done in different way, and all of this will become useless if the next step is not taken. Practice, practice, practice. Practicing is just a procedure for you to understand or fully grasp what you've actually learned from those tutorials you've watched, which means, like I said earlier, you have to watch 3 tutorials from different creators. So practicing what you've learned or follow from the tutorial makes it more unique, and the truth is there's no way you can even learn without practicing. Now, in order for you to practice effectively, the first thing you try to avoid is practicing for too long. If you don't want to get burnt out in practicing or understanding what you learned from the tutorial, then you're expected to practice as little as possible. And many people fail to cross this stage because they fail to do the next step, which is implement. One of the things I learned from Atomic Habit is that when what we are doing has no reward, there is a difficulty in repeating that same thing. So in order for you to actually continue practicing, then you're expected to implement. You implement simply by looking for those that are really in need of that skill that you're learning. Do that thing for them for free. And doing this thing for free can actually enable you to also build your portfolio. With implementation in place, you can seize the opportunity to do the next step, which is build your portfolio. You don't have to learn everything or practice everything before you can start implementing. You uncover most of the things as you go along the way. The easiest way to do this thing is just to offer a free service for those that are interested in the service. Building up a portfolio is just an opportunity to convince those that will hire you later on when you become a pro. And when you fail to do the last thing, there's a high possibility of losing the memory of what you've learned over the past months of when you started your training or when you started learning that skill, which is teaching others or sharing your story. You see, the only one way for you to build an authority of any skill is to either teach others that skill you built, or you share your story or share your journey of how you learned it. Now, doing this, we simply build an authority. And I can understand not everyone that learn can actually teach. So if you cannot teach, then you should be able to share your story. Doing this either or both things will automatically establish you as an authority of that skill. And at the end, you become a pro, and at the same time, you will be able to convince others or potential clients that you actually know how to make use of that skill. And at the end, landing yourself a gig. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to like, comment your thoughts on the video, and subscribe to the channel.